And we have just one more tidbit before you go to your break. We have another video that was put together, and this represents a project called BRCA Exchange, a database that was formed out of the BRCA Challenge. And this was one of the early demonstration projects that then became a driver project in this next round of the Global Alliance. I did want to acknowledge many people that have been collaborating over the last many years on this BRCA Challenge Steering Committee, and also specific call out to Gunnar Rausch here in Switzerland and Melissa Klein, the two of whom have been really co-leading the development of the BRCA Exchange database. And so with that, we're going to play this video.
I tested positive for a BRCA1 mutation back in 2005. My great-grandmother died of cancer. My mother was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer when she was 33. And so some of my earliest memories were not knowing whether my mother was going to live or die. I started learning about the importance of data sharing because the company that had done my genetic testing still had a proprietary data set of our community's mutations. And that was unacceptable to me.
Genetic data is heavily siloed, even the public genetic data. There are a number of different public repositories, each of which has a valuable snapshot of the data.
The BRCA Exchange was set up to pool the data from around the world to enable the scientists to deploy all the resources that we have.
We were so excited that this resource existed, number one, and that it was something that we could search for our mutations in. And what that did was it changed the conversation where suddenly we were talking about the letters and numbers and our mutations, and we had a path to learning about what those letters and numbers meant.
The fact that the BRCA Exchange provides a one-stop shop for BRCA variant information and expert-reviewed information to boot means it will democratize access to this information for the international clinical community. This is going to make life so much easier for them.
The Global Alliance for Genomics and Health created the BRCA Challenge as a driver project to address the challenges in sharing genetic data.
Specifically with BRCA1 and 2, the information about those genes for a long time was stored outside the public domain. And so what the BRCA Exchange is trying to do is to bring all of that knowledge that the community now has and put it in a centralized place for everybody to be able to digest, including scientists and patients.
It's really, really important to have accurate classifications of variants, because this is the cornerstone of clinical management when you're talking about genetic testing.
We're always navigating between what sort of patient-derived evidence we should not share because it might compromise a patient's privacy, and on the other hand, the variant evidence that we need to share.
And so the BRCA Exchange brings together these level of detail and gene level context for the BRCA1 and 2 genes so that when you are looking at a variant, you know the pieces of information that are important to consider about that gene.
I have seen many women who have come and been unsure about what to do with this test result, and you don't want them to take the default option and assume that this is significant and do something surgical or something. So having the access to this information in a real-time basis is very helpful in reassuring patients.
We can work with the patient communities to educate the educators so that there is good knowledge within patient communities to guide their membership and to help women advocate better for themselves.
We can advocate for being part of the research that is going to be a solution for us. BRCA Exchange is a really important start to that, especially when it comes to how we get clarity on information on BRCA1 and 2 variants.
Although the developers and the team members for BRCA Exchange are focusing just on these 2 genes for now, GA4GH has a global view.
If we solve this problem now, you know what? We don't have to solve that problem again. will have set up the resources that enable people for the foreseeable future. And it's actually not an easy problem to take data from different data sources and get them into a resource that everybody can use. Andrea has taken the time and energy to do two things. One is to understand the science, and the other is to deploy the social media resources to allow people to find each other.
What I hope is that we as patient advocates can begin to leverage the power of our social networks to further the research that we need to be able to make informed decisions.
Okay, enjoy your coffee break and come back at 11:30. Thank you.